So some of you may have heard about the 432 hertz versus the 440 hertz tuning. I'm not going to get into all of the esoteric reasoning behind that right now. You either like it or you don't. I like it because it's got all kinds of fun correlations between sacred geometry and that sort of thing. So at some point, maybe I'll go deep into that in another video. That video about real tuning and going back to Pythagoras and moving forward would be about an hour-long video, which is probably way more than most people are want to be interested in. So, but at any rate, if you do want to tune to 432 hertz, and if you're going to go on with some of my videos, which will be about chakras and using the guitar to activate chakras, we'll start with 432 as a reference, and we'll be tuning to the pitch of each chakra. Each of the 7 chakras has its own pitch. It's very simple. It's C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So it's just a musical alphabet. But we'll be using open tunings to get into kind of a meditative state, but that's down the road. But if you do want to do that, I have a favorite right now tuning app, and it's called Like Tones. I think they're just getting started. They have a tuning reference for all kinds of different instruments. I think what they're indicating, if you go to their website, liketones.com, is that they're going to have actual instruction for each of those instruments at some point. I don't think they have it yet. But their tuner is very nice. It's very easy to read, and it's calibratable. That's the important part. You can use any tuner you want as long as you can calibrate it. Most tuners out of the box are set to 440 hertz because that's the standard. If you play with other musicians on stage, almost 100% you're going to be playing tuned with the A equals 440 hertz reference tone. The app that I have chosen is you can use it on either Android or Apple iOS, so that makes it accessible to everyone. I'm going to break off the visual part and show you on screen how to use that, how to set that reference pitch and how to tune it. Okay, so just for fun, I'll try to get this. I'm showing you on screen. I just did screenshots and show you this just real time here. I'll try to show you on my phone. So I've downloaded that app, and it's Like Tones, and then there's the tuner. It's really very neat. Now, again, I'll try to get up here close. You got the gear icon, and that gets you to this menu, and you can see it says reference frequency. I've got mine set to 432 hertz. And then you can reset it to 440 just like that, but I'm going to bring it back to 432. And I'm good to go. And now we're back to the tuner. And so if I want to get my A to 432 hertz, it can hear that. So you can see that's right now. Actually, the thing is, that particular A is 108 hertz. And they're all multiples. So the A an octave above that is a 216 hertz. And then the one that we're shooting at that we always reference is a higher A. I'm going to put this down for a second. So that note there is really the A440. And that's a 216, and that's a 108. I'm going to stop the video and tune the rest of it to A equals 432 hertz as the reference tone, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so now I'm tuned across the board using A 432 hertz as my reference, and it's only 8 hertz down from 440. would be easy to make the argument that who cares? And if you don't care, that's fine. It's a little bit sweeter sounding though. I should have one side by side, but I just have to take my word for it, or if you can try it yourself and see what you think. It's just a little bit sweeter. And again, it's associated with sound healing and that kind of stuff. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the special tuning that we're going to use for the first video in the Chakra Guitar Series. And this is for the Root Chakra, the Muladhara Chakra, which corresponds to the key of C. And so what we're going to do is do an altered tuning that is tuned to an open chord of a C. So I'm going to be using the Light Tones guitar tuning app, which again, mine is referenced to 432 hertz. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but if you want to play along with me, it would be helpful so that we're all in tune. And for the first note, this is radical. If you've never done altered tunings before, most people start with a drop D, and that's you just drop one note down, and that gives you that low. That kind of a folksy kind of thing. That's not too radical. We're going to go a lot different than that. We're going to really retune all the strings. So the first one we're going to drop down to the root note of the root chakra, which is a C. The metal players out there will be used to these kinds of low note tunings. So that for me is a C2. Let's see if you can see that when you hit it. And then I'm going to drop the next one from A down to a G. I'm going to make sure that one's in pretty good shape. And again, as you're tuning, you're changing the tension on the neck. Things will change all the way through, and then you'll just have to re-reference it once you get it more or less in tune. And you're just basically always getting things in tune. I'm hitting the harmonic because it gives a little bit more volume. And this acoustic guitar that I don't have amplified, this is just a room sound. And it's a hybrid acoustic, it's not even a full acoustic, so it doesn't have as much projection. So we've dropped the E string, or the sixth string, I should say, down to the pitch of C using the Light Tones app, and I've dropped the fifth string down to the pitch of G, and I'm going to drop the fourth string down to the pitch of C from D, so it's not quite as big of a jump. One whole step. The G string's in luck. I don't have to change that one. That's the one we don't have to tune at all. So we'll leave that one, although it had gone sharp because of it. See, you dramatically drop the tension on the neck when you drop down from what it's used to feeling, which is E. And all of a sudden you drop it down 2 whole steps down to a C. It changes the tension all the way across. So you're going to have to adjust no matter what you do, and keep adjusting, because the wood is constantly readjusting itself. G is pretty close. That should be C. There it is. G, we're going to leave where it is. Now B, instead of going down, we're going to tune it up to a C. And the E we're going to leave alone. Leave that as the C. So check my tuning. So then effectively what we have is an open C chord, only really low. So it's going to connect to your root chakra, your C. And what we're going to be doing in the Root Chakra series with this is I'm going to teach you first in standard tuning how to play like the C major scale, just as a reference. I'm not really that heavily going to go into theory. I'm more interested in getting you playing music right off the bat and breaking through a lot of boundaries that a lot of beginning students have. So right from the first lesson, you're going to be making sounds that are actually advanced sounds. But a little bit too hard, but it's got a cool sound to it. The idea is you have drone strings going and you play melodies usually on a single string up and down like a dulcimer, back to the references of a. And so on any string, when you get to the 12th fret, you're at the octave. Anyway, I've jumped into the next lesson, but that's the idea. We're going to tune everything to C. Again, the reference is the low note is a C, the next note is a G, the next note is a C, the next note is a G, the next note is a C, and the next note is an E. You can also tune the highest string to a C if you want, and some people do that. And there's no rules. You can do whatever sounds really cool to you and come up with your own tunings that really work. And the other trick is that if you actually already play guitar, no chord shapes that you know or patterns work. So all your habits and all your muscle memories out the window, which makes you now have to really listen. And that's the beauty of this whole idea of the alternate tunings. You don't have your frame of reference. You might have been playing for a long time and you have burned in all these patterns in your head. You can play them in your sleep. And it can be musical, but it can also not be musical. The idea of not having any of that and having everything you do now is guided by intuition and by your ear, that puts you on a whole different level, a different plane of thought and experience. So that's the purpose of that. And that's the end of this tuning video. So if you like what you've seen and are interested in this sort of thing, please subscribe, and we'll be pumping out videos on a regular basis. I'm going to try to drop a new chakra video every Friday, and we'll keep going deep into the idea of using guitar as a meditative instrument, not just a guitar. So the idea is you can learn to play guitar with what I'm going to teach, and you can learn to play it pretty well, but you don't have to. You don't even have to want to be a guitarist. You can be a person that practices yoga or sound healing, anything like that, and just looking for another way to activate sound in a way that's healing to the human body and soul. That's what we're about. Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground. We started with just how to use the tuner, and then we went to the 5th fret method, and then we went to the harmonic method. We went to the relationship between the strings, just being able to hear that. Of course, that's not going to help you because I'm tuned to C. And finally, we went to using the Like Tones app. And you can use any app you want as long as it's calibratable, as long as you can just decide which frequency you want to use as your reference. And in our case here at the Guitar Way, and going forward with other lessons, I'm going to be tuned to 432 Hertz, and then we're going to go from there and tune to alternate tunings for each chakra, which we went over, and that's where we ended up with that beautiful sound of that C chord, that low C. And so now you've got the skills, you know how to use the tuner, you know how to use the frets, you know how to use the harmonics, how to use your ear, all of these things, and you can use them all in conjunction with each other to get really well in tune. So in the next video will be the first video in my Chakra Guitar Series. I don't know exactly what I'm going to name it yet, but that's the idea. We're going to be using the guitar to activate sounds that help you to activate each chakra. So there'll be meditation involved, breathing, and that kind of stuff. And we'll be tuning specifically to each chakra. In the case of the root chakra, the first one, this is a tune we're going to use, C. And so I'm shooting for one of these chakra videos a week, although each chakra video might have multiples. I don't have that all fleshed out yet, but eventually I'm going to work through all 7 chakras, and there will be a whole series on that, and we'll go from there. Hit subscribe if you would like to join me on this journey, and we'll strum our way to connection, and I'll see you soon.